Good morning, YouTube. There's a famous saying that says, in life, there's only two guarantees, death and taxes. I would like to add a third one to that list, which is if you own a business, you are guaranteed to get sued.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, and this is my business. I own a business called Normal Guy LLC. That is my parts and services business, and I own a dealership called NG Supercars, and I own this with my business partner, Josh. Yeah, we do a lot of cool stuff, and we get to play with some cool cars and offer some cool parts and services to y'all, and we appreciate all your support. But, yeah, when you own a business, you are going to get sued at some point, and I finally got sued. We had to go to court this morning, and I want to tell you all about it and hope you guys can learn some lessons. So I guess that's the big thing here is I probably made some mistakes running my business, especially early on because, well, I hate lawyers and I hate legal stuff. It's just frustrating. Unfortunately, if you're going to run a business, it's probably something you shouldn't ignore. And this is probably a good example why. I apologize for the noise in the background. Josh is working on a car. Let's talk about what happened, then let's talk about court, and then the outcome of the court's decision. So the first thing is what happened. This was about almost 3 years ago, which is interesting because the statute of limitations for this type of thing is 3 years, so they squeaked it in. We did the tour of Colorado, the first tour of Colorado, and one of the participants is a local gentleman who runs a company that does these drives here in Austin. He reached out to me after the tour of Colorado and said, hey, I want to do a drive and partner up with me and use our branding to hopefully attract more people. And I said, that sounds like an interesting proposition. So we came to an agreement where basically he was going to create this tour, organize it, make all the reservations, front the money, and basically my company was just going to do the marketing side of it. So I was going to be the face of it, kind of host the thing. As a part of that, I lent my brand. So we call it the Normal Guy Super Tour. The other thing that happened was he didn't have a credit card processor, and I did at the time. So I said, you know what if we put it on my website and allow people to sign up through my website? That way they can pay with a credit card, and we just increase the cost by the cost of the credit card charge. And a particular person that we're not going to name, but we're just going to call Special K, emailed and called me and left a voicemail asking to participate. So I called him and talked to him, and he decided to participate. And I said, great. So he signed up and paid using his credit card through our website. Again, part of my agreement with this person running the event is I took the money, net credit card fees and taxes, and sent him all of that money. So basically at this point in time, I've made exactly $0. The person organizing the event reached out to Special K and let him know that, hey, he's the tour master, he's organizing the event, blah, blah, blah. Here's where the details about the event, and started that communication. Fast forward a few months to when the event is about to happen. Myself and the organizer of the event were not getting along, and we decided to part business ways. I didn't want to participate anymore. He didn't want me to participate anymore. So it was mutual. If I'm disinvited, basically, then please don't use my branding. I don't want something using my branding if I'm not there, which I thought was pretty reasonable. And so did he. So he immediately contacted all the participants and let them know the event name changed. No big deal, right? Everything else was the same. At this time, the weather for the event was not looking so sharp. It was like 50% chance of rain. As you know, if you plan an event like this, you can't predict the weather 5 months ahead of time. And so there's just a risk that you're going to get stuck with some crappy weather. In our terms of service, it did specify that this is a rain or shine event, and the only way it'd be canceled is if it was like extreme weather, and that would be up to the decision of the tour master, and he would if there was a cancellation, then people could get the refunds or the event would be moved. Also of note, in my terms of service on my website, it explicitly states that there are no cancellations or returns except for by my discretion. And in order to check out on my website, you have to check the checkbox that says you agree to my terms and services. So basically, you are bound by law to my terms of services if you've paid through my website. Well, Special K decided that even though it was almost a week out, the risk for rain was too high for his precious new Ferrari. So the organizer of the event at this point let him know that, hey, this is a rain or shine event. They sent emails back and forth. Special K continued to reiterate that he did not want to hurt his new baby and that he didn't feel that it was safe even though it looked like the weather was improving. Well, he demanded a refund 2 days before the event. Now, if you organize an event, you know that basically 2 days before the event, there's nothing you can do about it. That money is used. In fact, probably a month or so before the event, that money is used because you have to pay all the vendors, the hotel, the caterers, whatever, ahead of time, because no one's going to let you take and reserve 10, 20 rooms at a hotel without prepaying, because that's a huge risk. And the same thing with the vendors. They have to buy the food and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. So that's why when you have events like this, they're almost always non-refundable, no cancellations, that sort of stuff, which was explicitly stated on the website about this particular event. Special K says he wants to cancel, and of course the tour master let him know that he's not going to be able to give him a refund and that he should still participate. Meanwhile, I'm not aware that this is happening because they're communicating with each other directly. I have no idea about this. The event goes on and happens, and shockingly enough, the rain really kind of never came. I mean, it looked like it drizzled and the roads were wet here and there, but it was overall a pretty good weekend. All the other participants came and had a great time. Special K did not come. Special K and the tourmaster continued to have emails arguing back and forth. Special K insulted the tourmaster, saying stuff about he should have thought ahead of time about insurance for the event and all this stuff. It was just very entitled behavior. So finally, about a month after the event, I'm finally made aware of the situation, and the way I'm made aware is I get a chargeback from Special K on his credit card. Now, if you run a small business, you know that having a chargeback is problematic. They are not good. If you get too many chargebacks, they increase your rates, and it's not good. You don't want them, and they give you big fees. Immediately, they fine me a fee, and they withdraw the money for that charge out of my checking account. So I'm out that money. Now that means I'm now at negative $2,600 for the event. So yeah, I'm like, what in the world happened here? So I call Special K, and he gets on the phone, and I say, hey, this is Daniel Hurlbert with Normal Guy LLC, and I'm just trying to figure out why you did a chargeback against me. And he goes, I don't know who you are. Who is this? What company is this? And I'm like, Normal Guy LLC. You signed up for the Normal Guy Super Tour, but it changed names. And he's like, I don't know who this is. I don't feel comfortable talking to you about any of this, and then hangs up on me. I have to assume at this point that he's in for a fight, which clearly was true. So I have to do a dispute on his chargeback. At this point, have really not a whole lot to go on other than the website that shows that he's listed as a registered driver. So I send that to my credit card processor saying, hey, here's his name clearly on the list. He is one of the participants. He chose not to go. It's a rain or shine event. The event still went on. At this point in time, nothing happens for a while. And then finally, like 3 months later, the credit card processors actually sided in my favor, which is rare. Okay, as a business, you almost never win chargebacks. And keep in mind, that's his credit card company deciding in my favor. His company, not mine. I have no agreement with the credit card company. I have an agreement with my credit card processor. So they're just kind of the intermediary. Well, at that particular point in time, Special K decides that he doesn't like the decision, and he does not pay his credit card and creates all sorts of havoc with his credit card company. They end up filing suit against him in small claims court. Again, I'm not aware of any of this is going on in the background. He hires a lawyer, he goes to court, and they didn't show up. So he gets a default judgment, he wins the case. So he didn't have to end up paying the credit card bill at this point. So as of this moment, he's only out the money for his lawyers. He's reduced how much he's out from $2,600 to, I think, $1,300. Okay, so I don't know about you, but that seems pretty reasonable. You got half your money back. Okay, move on. No. Instead, he decides to file suit against me. Not the guy organizing the drive. No, my company, Normal Guy. So I get served, and he claims that is a breach of contract and that the event never happened. Yep, that's his argument, that the event never happened because it changed names. Okay. Well, I feel like I'm compelled to fight this. I reach out to my lawyers. And just a quick bit of information. He wasn't suing me for the $2,600 he wanted back. He's suing me for $5,000 because, I don't know. Okay. That makes a lot of sense to me. No, it doesn't. So I reach out to my lawyers, and they basically say, look, we're going to cost more than $5,000 to fight this, so you might as well just go to court. Worst case scenario is you're out $5,000. I agreed with that. So at small claims court, you could represent yourself. I wasn't really enthusiastic about this. Lesson learned: in the future, I'm just hiring the lawyers because not worth the stress. I lost an absurd amount of sleep, stress, whatever, even though it's only $5,000. Like, I kept having to remind myself, it's only $5,000. It's not the end of the world. Yes, it's a large amount of money, but it's not enough to bankrupt us, right? Well, I had to gather evidence, and I already had all the emails from the tour master showing that in those emails, Special K repeatedly said he wanted to cancel because of the weather. He didn't feel comfortable driving in the rain. I had to protect my baby. All these things across multiple emails. In fact, that's the emails printed out. All of this, okay? This is his conversations with the tour master. A lot of stuff happened in the background I was not privy to. So I get all those emails, I go through them. We do some discovery, which is absurd. Again, he's like, you need to provide the signed contract, which, you don't sign a website, you just check out. Furthermore, this was 3+ years ago. I deleted that off of my website because I didn't want people, signing up for a thing that doesn't exist anymore. Like, I don't know about you, but when you run a website that sells products, generally, if you're not offering that product anymore, you remove it from your website so that someone doesn't buy it and then get screwed when it doesn't exist anymore. I had no way to recover that because the system doesn't allow it. We go through discovery and all this crap, and I had to spend hours and hours, probably about 20 hours of work, putting together my case and all this stuff. Well, fast forward to this morning, we actually go to trial. Let me just say, small claims court is bullshit. It's crap. It's nothing like you see on TV. It's nothing like you see in movies. I was shocked by how informal and disappointing it was. So I'm not sure who the person was presiding over the case. All it said was his name was Andy. He never introduced himself. He never said, I am a justice of the peace or judge or whatever. He's just like, all right, let's get this started. He first asked for Special K's story, and Special K starts off with, I signed up for this Normal Guy Super Tour, and the event never happened. So then the judge immediately, it was really fascinating. You could see from the start, he looks at me almost scornfully and says, well, Mr. Hurlbert, what do you have to say about that? And I was just like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose. This is not good. The judge already hates me. I don't know, maybe it's because I have a big nose. I don't know. I'm screwed at this point. So I argue, that the event did take place, that the name changed, and that is all. Special K gives his sob story about signing up on her website, and he didn't know that the tour master was the person organizing the event, even though they had a couple emails together. So he's clearly lying through his teeth, acts all confused and whatever. He's playing up that he's an old man, right? He's playing up that, I'm some young whippersnapper trying to screw over some old guy. It was infuriating just listening to this person lie because they're selfish and entitled. The judge asked me for, what was the deal with that? And I said, about my agreement with the tour master, how I'm just the marketing side of it. I wasn't organizing this event. And he's like, well, this is confusing. I don't understand. Who do you work for? Do you work for Normal Guy or this other company? And I'm like, I work for Normal Guy. I did the marketing for this event. I did not organize the event. I paid this money to the tour master so that he could reserve Special K's spot. This was a rain or shine event. There was no refunds. So the judge says, well, what happened to the money? And I'm like, well, the caterers had to be paid. The hotels had to be paid. So the money's been spent. And he goes, well, that doesn't matter. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's the whole point. Of course it matters. And I'm like, well, it does matter because they don't offer refunds, so I can't get that money back, and the tour master can't get that money back. And that's why we had that this was a rain or shine event, no cancellations, explicitly stated on the website. What is your returns policy? And I told him, I'm like, look, the plaintiff agreed and said in writing that yes, he knew that this was a rain or shine event, that yes, he knew that this event was non-refundable, and that he knew that I said in my terms of service, all sales are final, returns and cancellations are approved at Normal Guy LLC's discretion. All these things that he agreed to and more. Mind you, I've only gotten maybe about 1 minute to talk. The court started at 9:30. At 9:38, after hearing me for about 1 minute and hearing the plaintiff for probably 3 minutes, maybe 4 or more, I'm like talking. He goes, all right, I've heard enough. I've got enough evidence to make a decision. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm so screwed. And then he like clicks off his camera. So we weren't actually in person. We were over WebEx or whatever. He disappears for about a minute or two, comes back and says, I think that you are both at fault here. And so I'm going to award the plaintiff $1,000. So I'm out $1,000. And then basically he's like, that's it, and hung up, disconnected. I got maybe a minute to present my case. I never got to argue a lot of the evidence. They had the evidence. I sent it to them. So I don't know if he's even looked at this. I feel like from the start, the judge didn't want to side in my favor. In fact, I kind of have a theory that because we both live in the same community, maybe the judge just wanted to kind of do like a split in the middle thing, so that we're both not angry at each other, making this thing drag out or whatever. I think he knows that if it's a low enough dollar amount, I'm not going to appeal it. Like, why would I appeal something for $1,000, right? If I appeal it, I'm going to have to hire lawyers. I'm going to have them fight for lawyer fees. It's going to get really ugly. It's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. It's not worth it. So as a business owner, there's a point which you have to kind of cast your emotions aside. Let's be real. My emotions right now are like, Special K, the court, everyone. They're all a bunch of assholes. It was rigged, whatever. Like, I'm pissed, right? That's the emotional side of me, is I am just pissed off. And the emotional side of me says, fight it, fight the man, that guy. We're going to go appeal it. But then you have to listen to logic and reason and be a proper business owner. From a business perspective, losing $1,000 in this situation is about as good as it's going to get. We were originally going to lose $5,000. We got down to $1,000. I didn't have to hire lawyers. If I hired lawyers, it would have easily cost more than $5,000. So I would have probably been out that money too. So all things considered, it's about as good as it's going to get. And this is kind of like the whole proof in the pudding of you're going to get sued if you own a business. And this is why so many businesses just settle. When you have a lawsuit, it doesn't matter if you have all the evidence and all this stuff. You're the business owner. You run a business. The courts love helping people. They don't like helping businesses. You are in a deficit from the start. You are being prejudged. It's kind of like, honestly, like owning a Ferrari. If someone finds out you own a Ferrari, they immediately think you're a douchebag. Someone owns a business in court, they're on their heels. They have a harder shot. Yeah. So lots of lessons here. In the future, would probably start with the lawyers or even just settle. I definitely would not have gone through all the stress knowing how it works. Maybe if I had offered $2,000 right from the start, he would have gone away, in which case, I would have lost more money, but I would have saved a lot of time. The amount of cost I've had in time far exceeds $1,000 in value, in my opinion. At the same time, I'm still just fuming pissed. It's just stupid. I was talking to Joshua and we're both like, how is it fair that someone can just arbitrarily sue us in court and win $1,000 from us, even though they knew all the terms of service, that all these things that, legally we've done everything we're supposed to do, yet because they lied in court, basically pretending like this thing never happened, even though it did, all it did was change names, that somehow that makes them get their money back and we're liable? I don't know. Yeah, stupid shit and Special K. That's all I can say about that. What's going to be really interesting is Special K lives in this community. Like, this is a Ferrari owner, and I am highly active in the Ferrari community. So we're going to run into each other again. Stupid GoPro overheated. Anyone else have that problem of GoPros overheating all the time? These things suck. In conclusion, if you own a business, you're going to get sued. So have lawyers ready. You just got to balance out the ROI. Every time you have a situation like this, it doesn't matter if you're in the right. I mean, we clearly did everything we're supposed to do as a business. We had terms of service that are supposed to prevent us from people being able to arbitrarily file cancellations or returns. It doesn't matter because they can provide some sob story and some judge, or I don't even think this is a judge because it's small claims court. I'm trying to find out who this judge or whoever presided over this actually is, because if they're elected, I'm going to make sure that they don't get reelected. I will definitely go out of my way to do that. It's super frustrating. I work extremely hard to do the right thing, to provide good services and products to you guys. We're very honest and transparent. We oftentimes have eaten crow, even though we don't have to. We've had cars that we sold, and then a few days later, something happened to the car, and we paid for those cars to get fixed, even though we didn't have to, because it's the right thing to do. It's not because that's what I should do. As a business owner, I shouldn't do any of that. Feel free to put your comments below, thoughts. I know there's lots of lessons, things I should have done differently. I chalk this up to, it's $1,000 learning experience. I paid $1,000 to learn some lessons that I'll never make again, some mistakes that I'll never make again. I think people trying to do this exact thing in the future will have a much more difficult time. Yeah, it is what it is. We'll be back doing car stuff, so like, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate when you guys support us. You can buy products and services from normalguysupercar.com, and you can buy cars from us at ngsupercars.com. So check them out. Give us a thumbs up. We'll see you in the next video. It's going to be sweet.